I welcome you all for the Pro Pharma channel. Today I am going to start with nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy. You all know it is a very big topic and I am going to do this in parts. So today I am going to introduce you to the topic and talk about the principle. I hope all the final year B.Pharm students are with me. So what exactly is nuclear magnetic spectroscopy? It is a tool which is used for determination of organic structure. So it is used for structural elucidation. And most important to know is that it is performed on the nuclei and not the electrons. So nuclei are involved when I talk about NMR. So when an electromagnetic radiations interacts with matter, it is generate some kind of information, and that is nothing but spectroscopy. So in EMR, radio waves are the one which are involved in giving us the structural information in nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy. So in UV, we talk about electrons and its transition. In infrared, we talk about the vibrational energy states. In microwave, the rotational energy states. And in radio waves, we talk about the nuclear spin energy when they are present in a magnetic field. So we will see what exactly is this. First, we should know what is spinning nuclei. A nucleus of an hydrogen atom. Why I am talking about hydrogen atom? Because we are going to talk about H1 NMR spectroscopy. So nuclei of a hydrogen atoms behave something like a spinning bar magnet. It possesses both electrical and mechanical energy. So we know a spinning bar magnet, so which has two poles and axis with it. When I talk about nuclear spin, a nuclei, which nuclei possess a nuclear spin? A nucleus with odd atomic number and odd mass number are the ones which possess nuclear spin. So when I say a spinning nuclei, the one nuclei which has odd atomic number and odd mass number will possess nuclear spin and will behave as a spinning bar magnet, and hence it will have some kind of electrical and mechanical spin which will generate a magnetic field. Okay, so we know a bar magnet and it generates a magnetic field. So they are saying that spinning nuclei will also generate this kind of a magnetic field. So we are going to see how exactly. Whenever an external magnetic field is applied to the spinning protons, they behave as a magnet. So now right now in this picture you will see there are no protons here, but there is a typical spinning magnet here, a bar magnet kept under the external magnetic field. So this bar magnet is present under B0. B0 is the strength of the external magnetic field. So if at all I am keeping it, this can twist either this way or either this way. So if it is parallel to B0, that is, it is similar to that of my external magnetic field, it is aligned to the external magnetic field, then it will look something like this. Or if it is twisting the other way, it will be opposing to the external magnetic field and it will look this. So I always say this is a parallel spin and anti-parallel spin. So whenever I am in the class and I am listening to my teacher and I do not oppose to anything, then I am a person who doesn't love violence, and hence I am at the lower energy level. I am aligned to what my teacher is saying and I am more stable and I possess a parallel spin. However, some naughtier ones who will not do the homework what teacher has told, if they will oppose the teacher, they will have anti-parallel spin due to the very reason because they are at a higher energy state and they are really very unstable. So they will be not aligned with what teacher is saying, that is, they will be not aligned with the external magnetic field but opposed to it. So this is when placed under the external magnetic field what bar magnet look like. What happens to a nuclei? So this is a nuclei which is a spinning nuclei. As we said, a spinning nuclei possess a magnetic field. So this spinning nuclei also will either be aligned to the external magnetic field or will be opposed to the external magnetic field. So we are going to see now what is exactly this spin energy states, or plus half or minus half. So when we talk about NMR, the principle says that it is an interaction between EMR, that is oscillating magnetic field of electromagnetic radiations. And what it is interacting with? It is interacting with the H1, that is hydrogen nuclei magnetic field. However, it cannot interact with the magnetic field of hydrogen nuclei because it can only interact only when that its play on the nuclei is placed under the external magnetic field. Why? Because when placed under external magnetic field, nuclei possesses spin. So NMR involves the interaction of EMR radio waves with that of the nuclei placed under external magnetic field. So any sample absorbs this radio waves in different frequencies, and this absorption gives us the information as to what are the different types of proton present in my sample. Is it clear? Next concept for when I introduce NMR is precessional motion. So everybody can see a nice top which is spinning. However, it is coming almost to a closure, or it is going to stop now. So the spinning top resembles a precessional motion. What is this precessional motion? A precession arises from the interaction of spin. If a top is spinning and if the spinning top axis is interacting with the gyroscopic motion, that is Earth's gravitational force motion which is acting vertically downwards, then the top is going to start coming to the rest. And that kind of a motion, when the top is coming to the rest, is called as precessional motion. And our spinning nuclei always rotates in a precessional motion and this kind of a precessional orbit. And the frequency with which this proton precises, that is around the nuclei, is called as precessional frequency. So number of revolutions per second made by this magnetic vector of a nuclei, again when placed under the external magnetic field, is called as precessional frequency. So when a nuclei which has a spin is placed under external magnetic field, it creates some kind of magnetic field which interacts with the radio waves and gives us some kind of an information which is helpful for us to determine the structure. So what is this precessional frequency? Numerically, precessional frequency is directly proportional to the frequency of EMR. So, and it entirely depends upon the gyrometric ratio, the applied magnetic field, and the angular precessional velocity. So my magnetic moment, Planck's constant, and spin quantum number. So my omega is 2 pi nu, where omega is the precessional frequency which is directly related to the frequency of EMR. So when I am saying a spin, we should know what exactly is this spin I am talking about. The spin is a fundamental property of nature like electric charge or mass. It is important to note that spin always comes in the multiple of half. So either my spin can be plus half or it can be minus half. So when I say a nuclei gives us the information, a nuclei contains a proton and a neutron. So any individual unpaired proton or a neutron has a spin 1/2, that is half. Also any unpaired electron also have a spin which is half. Okay. So this is important to note that any unpaired electron, proton or neutron has a spin value which is 1/2. So how do I calculate this spin? How do I know that my atom which I am talking about has spin, or the nuclei which I am talking about is a spinning nuclei? Because till now we have said that this spinning nuclei or this beautiful spinning lady is only involved in giving us the structural information, or else we will not get any kind of information. So when I talk about H2 or deuterium, it has one unpaired electron, one unpaired proton and one unpaired neutron. When I say a nuclear spin, it has one unpaired proton 1/2 plus one unpaired neutron 1/2. The total nuclear spin, nuclei ka spin, is only 1, which is not a fraction. So in NMR, when I have nuclear spins which is 1, 2, 3, 4, they will not give me any kind of information. However, when I talk about my H1, that is my proton, it has only one proton in the nuclei, that is unpaired proton in the nuclei, that is its spin is 1/2, and hence the spin quantum number is only half, and hence I have a spin seen. So you can see here the molecules where atomic number is even, atomic number is even, mass number is even, then these will not be seen in the NMR, or they will not possess or give us information in NMR. Whereas all these H1, B11, C13 all give us NMR information because they all possess spin, because their spin quantum number is 1/2, 3/2, 5/2. So what is the spin quantum number? It is the angular momentum of spinning charge is quantized. It has some energy, and that is described as a spin quantum number, which is given by an atomic mass number and atomic number. To make it simple, if I talk about number of neutrons and number of protons, if I have odd or even protons or even or odd neutrons, then my total spin quantum number I comes to 1/2, 3/2, 5/2. Then those nuclei qualify for being detected in NMR. Okay, so this is what the basics of NMR is, where I am going to have odd mass numbers which will show spin and hence detected in NMR, whereas others which cannot show spin will not be detected in NMR. So a spin quantum number will give us a very important information of number of orientation a nuclei can attain. So it is given by 2I plus 1. So when I know I, which is my quantum number, if I substitute, I get for a proton jiska I is 1/2, I get 2 into 1/2 plus 1, which is 2 possible orientation of a nuclei, that is H1 proton, either aligned to the external magnetic field as we saw it previously, or opposed to the external magnetic field. Students which are listening to the teacher which are at lower energy level, and students which are not listening to the teacher which are at higher energy level possessing anti-parallel spin. Okay, so I think we should stop here and continue our NMR when we meet next time in the next part. So do watch and subscribe our channel Pro Pharma. Thank you.